We are closing in on our Giants channel here at Chat Sports, hosted by producer always Marshall Green, and we're racing to 10,000 subscribers. Now, Giants have got like a 60-ish sub lead on us right now, but we can take it back and we can beat them to 10K. So help me out by hitting that subscribe button. Plus, you get daily free Cleveland Browns content. Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, telling you guys about the latest Browns news and rumors, which are presented to you by Aura, an all-in-one digital safety tool that keeps yourself and your wallet protected while you are online. Start a 14-day free trial. Figure out if Aura is right for you at aura.com/chatsports. We'll tell you more about their awesome services later on in the show. Now, it's been a little while since we used our Bernie heads, mostly because of like the NBA draft, and there was NBA free agency, and then Baker got traded last week, so we haven't actually had a good or any Browns live show, but I want to get back to Bernie heads today, and this is like a scale of believability. So, if you're seeing this for the first time, wondering what the heck this is, 0 Bernie heads is fake news, so it's not going to happen, and we go all the way up to 4 Bernie heads. So the first rumor on today's show, you may have already seen it, Deshaun Watson. Is he going to be getting a 4-game suspension? I'm giving this 2 Bernie heads. I'm right in the middle right now. I think a lot of people are just throwing shit on the wall and hoping it sticks. And they end up might being right, but anyone, I could just tweet out every single day, Watson will get 4, 6, 8, 10-game suspension. That doesn't mean I'm right if it ends up happening. Now, Tony Rizzo over at ESPN Cleveland had an interesting take today, saying, as I heard from reliable sources, right now I'm hearing 4 to 6 games for Deshaun Watson. At this point in the story and all the twists and turns we've gone through, it feels like anything over 8 games would be surprising, right? I mean, how quickly we have fallen to, I never thought a full year suspension, but 12 to 10 games didn't seem like that would be a stretch. And then just some of the little rumors and nuggets that came out of the meeting with Judge Sue Robinson between Watson's camp and the NFL. And then it went from like 10 games, maybe down to 8 games. And then it just kind of felt like you woke up in the morning, it's like, could it be a 6-game suspension? And now are we all the way down to 4 games? So we've got more on this, but Josina Anderson had an interesting tweet yesterday right before we all went to bed, and I thought it was pretty interesting. She said, as I read over the personal conduct policy, one word continues to stick out while thinking ahead to Sue Robinson's decision during the fact-gathering process, and where along the spectrum she'll post her flagpole. Let me know if you come up with it, and we'll revisit it soon. I read, which by the way, isn't actually that long. It's just like an 8-page PDF. You can knock yourself out too. I don't know what word she was talking about. Like, I went back to school, did my homework. I command F things to see what word popped up the most. My best guess is like the word the or something. That was like the most commonly used word in there. But I don't know what she's hinting at. Curious when she'll let the cat out of the bag. But we talked about a 6-game suspension, and now we're getting ourselves down to 4 games. But someone in our last video had a very interesting comment. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name right now. But they made a good point. Let's look at the schedule right now for Cleveland in 2022. And let's go under the thought of, what if it's a 6-game suspension? How important that would be versus an 8-game suspension, for example, because of who you play in Week 7 and Week 8. I mean, if Jacoby Brissett can just keep the ship afloat for 6 weeks, at worst 3-3, they're not dead in the water. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how Watson plays for the first time in I don't even know how many days, since the end of 2020. But first game at Baltimore, like, that's not an easy coming out party right there. But it's better than seeing Jacoby Brissett play at M&T Bank Stadium. Now, if you guys are ready for all this to be over, because I personally am. Like, it's fun because at least we're talking about something a little bit more than, say some other teams right now that have absolutely nothing to talk about. But still, I'd rather talk about actual football. So if you're ready for all this to be over, type me down in the comments below. All right, next rumor coming up on today's show is Baker Mayfield circling Week 1. You betcha. I mean, 4 Bernie heads, right? How is he not circling it? He's not circling it. He's removing the rest of the calendar, and it's just week 1. I mean, this guy, we all know Baker, right? We know him better than anyone else does. Of course he's circling week 1. No shit, Sherlock. He is one of the most emotional, fiery players in the entire league. And he gets to start his new campaign with his new team against the team that may have called him not an adult and traded him after a injury-riddled season where he pushed through. I mean, this is like the lens of Baker I'm talking through right now, right? He plays all of last season with a hurt shoulder, a destroyed shoulder, a hurt foot, a hurt rib. And what does the team do? They trade him away? Yeah, you better believe he is circling week 1. Now, he spoke to the media, and we're going to look at some of the quotes he said in just a second. But I want to tell everyone about today's proud sponsor, Aura. So we are online more than ever. We all know this. But here's what Aura does to really help you be safe online. They're going to be all over like a watchdog, being sure that your identity and your finances are secure. Because how often do we just put stuff into Chrome and we're like, yep, save all the details? Well, if a data, I don't know, which one do you want to call it, leak happens, yeah, you won't be a victim of it thanks to Aura. Start a 14-day free trial, and you can discover why I love Aura and why it is one of the best products out there. 14-day free trial at aura.com/chatsports. Okay, here's what Baker Mayfield said the other day on the Panthers website. You can check it out yourself. I'm not going to sit here and be a robot and tell you that's not one I've marked on the calendar already. One, that's not who I am. We know Baker. To me, it's about winning games. Whoever we have marked on the schedule, I'm going to try to win. Obviously, this one has a little more history and personal meaning, but for me, it's about winning and setting the tone for the rest of the year. And however I can help this team do that, I'm going to do it. Baker, I mean, we've got a lot to unpack on this front. This may be the reason why you clicked on today's show, because he followed that up right there when he spoke to the Panthers team website, editor, whatever you want to call it. And then he spoke to the media today over Zoom. And you betcha, all the Cleveland Browns media personalities were in there, and they got some great tweets and great quotes I want to share with you guys today. So we're going to just unpack it all right now. So Cameron Justice, let's start it right here, all right, tweeting out Panthers quarterback Baker Mayfield on playing with a shoulder injury last season. When it comes to the shoulder, I'm not one for excuses because I was too stubborn to come out anyway. Looking back at it, one, I was wrong. I didn't think the shoulder was as bad as probably it was end up being at the initial stage, right? Like week 2, I was like, play through it. God bless you, Baker. Keep trotting out there. And as it got bad to worse, it was like, all right, maybe we should pull the plug on this. And that's a little bit on Stefanski because, Baker's saying he was too stubborn. Well, Baker shouldn't have that power, right? That's on the head coach to be like, you know what? You're actually hurting the team more than helping the team. We're going to shut it down for a little bit. All right, another interesting tweet from Cameron Justice saying, quarterback Baker Mayfield said he was shocked by the way the offseason played out with the Browns. You roll with the punches and you got to move forward. This is a test of adversity and how I'm going to handle it and how I can move forward and be the best teammate possible. Honestly, I don't blame Baker for being shocked. Were we all sort of shocked, right? I don't think MKC may have seen it coming before some of us did, but I didn't go into the offseason saying, well, that's the end of Baker's career in Cleveland. Now, I don't think Andrew Berry did either, right? Back in January 11th, he said, we fully expect Baker to be our starter and bounce back. I think Kevin mentioned this yesterday, so yes. So, sure that you could twist that to, well, that's GM talk. Of course, Andrew Berry is not going to say, hey, let me get you guys in a secret here. Baker ain't coming back next year. No, right? Of course, he wouldn't come out and flat say that. But I think Andrew Berry, when he sat down at his kitchen table in January, believed Baker would be the quarterback for the Browns in 2022. It's only until he began in that 5-month odyssey. Well, maybe he didn't because he started looking at Deshaun Watson earlier. Now I'm thinking about it more. But still, I think Baker has every right to be shocked, right? Why wouldn't he have been shocked? Now, there is an interesting wrinkle in the schedule, of course, when you get to play your old quarterback to start the regular season. But we saw that last year, right? Tom Brady went back to New England and played the Patriots in Foxborough, won 19-17, by the way. And then you had Matthew Stafford against the Lions, but you also had Jared Goff against the Rams. So both teams playing their old both quarterbacks playing their old teams. Matthew Stafford won that matchup. And then maybe like the least exciting one, although at the time it was kind of exciting, Sam Darnold against the Jets week 1, so back-to-back years for the Panthers doing this kind of carousel. They won 19-14. Now, I put this on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Matthew Petey, but I want to know what you guys have to say about this. What game is going to be a more exciting week 1 matchup? Was it last year against the Chiefs? Because, let's be honest, like all of August, that's all I could think about, right? Everyone's just looking ahead to Arrowhead Stadium. Or do you think it's going to be this year? Going up against Baker. Potentially ending the 17-year losing streak in week 1 against Baker of all players. Let me know which one it is. Put in the year down below in the comments. Another interesting quote from Baker I wanted to share. The fans in Cleveland are what make the town so great. It's a special sports town. They care about their Browns, tradition-rich and generations of families that have been Browns fans for life. And so that's what made it so special. That's what Baker said during his presser today. And honestly, like a little shout-out, a little kudos to him for calling it what it is, right? Not, dumping on the Browns, but taking the high road out, right? I think that's one of the bigger knocks against Baker was his maturity levels, okay? We've seen tons of media members come out now that he's been traded and really vocalize maybe their true opinions on him and why it didn't work out for Baker and the Browns. And the maturity issue was a notable issue. Now, maybe he's trying to accept that and, see that and turn the page and start fresh in Carolina. And he doesn't want to do that by poo-pooing on his last team. All right, speaking of Baker, his boyfriend Jake Trotter saying no more at home with Baker Mayfield progressive commercials, he confirms. Says he wanted to do a moving away version, but didn't work out. Honestly, shout out to Baker. That would have been awesome. It would have been a nice ending, right, to Baker in Cleveland if he did a moving out of First Energy Stadium. But are you guys going to miss the Baker progressive ads? I always thought there should have been a clause in his contract where if the Browns were losing and it was like bad, don't run the ads anymore for the rest of the game. Because there was no worse visual than Baker throwing an interception, walking off the field. Stefanski's like, what the fuck? And then it just cuts away to Baker putting nachos and running a book club in First Energy. That was the worst visual possible. Y for yes or N for no. Let me know, Dog Pound, if you're going to miss the Baker progressive ads. All right, final rumor on today's show. Deshaun Watson's Instagram post. You may have seen it already. Is he hinting at something here? Fake news. Come on. We got to be smarter than this. No, Deshaun Watson and what he, we can put it on screen. Marshall, we working on that? Thank you. Okay, look at what he put on Instagram. Marshall, do you see this and think there's anything that could be taken away from this? No. He put his hat down and he's in Berea working out at the facility. That's all this is. If you want a takeaway, it's that Deshaun Watson is spending his offseason in his new city, and he is working out weeks before training camp opens up, all right? This means nothing. This is not cap or no cap. This is not him, saying, well, that's that, right? I mean, looking off into the sunset, I'm not playing this year or something. No. I think he just wants to be a normal human being and show everyone, hey, I'm in here when no one else is. I mean, we all do this, right? In our daily lives where if you are going above and beyond at work, you want your boss to notice. You want everyone to take recognition. That's all he's doing here. He's just showing, hey, on July 12th, I was hanging out at the practice facility working out. Not everyone can say that. So that's all this means. Do not have any big takeaway. What's that, Marshall? Yeah, you got the elf right there on the hat. Marshall was asking if that was the old logo on the hat. All right, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we've got a race right now between Giants Now and the Browns Report to 10,000 subscribers. Help us win that race, hitting that big red button and subscribing.